I am live. Hello, hello, hello. I was getting ready to say happy Mindset Monday, but we're gonna call this Wisdom Wednesday. That's what we're gonna call this today because that's what I'm showing up as today. All right. Wisdom Wednesday is what we're gonna call this today. All right, come on in, come on in, come on in. I miss you guys. Come on in. I am live in our Empower for More group. I am also live from my personal page on YouTube. So welcome, welcome, welcome everybody who has come on in to join me. It has been quite a journey. This book that we have been reading together. It is John C. Maxwell 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. Okay. 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth is what we've been in. My little bun is kind of just, yeah. 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth is what I have been reading. This book had 15 chapters. So it was supposed to be 15 weeks, and we got some unexpected things happen toward the end. So we're on 14. And I'm just going to tie it up today. We're going to finish 14 and 15 today. All right. So quite a bit of information to go through in a very short amount of time. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Some of y'all going to see it now. Some of y'all going to watch the replay. But come on in, come on in, come on in. I also want to say congratulations to all of the recipients of the John Maxwell book that they won just simply by dropping a number and being chosen randomly to receive a book. If I have not already talked to you and you have not already sent me a picture, please take a selfie with your book and send it to me. Just send a direct message it to me on Messenger as I'm creating a reel with all of the winners of the books and do something kind of fun with it. All right. So come on in, come on in, invite a friend, invite a friend. Let me invite some people while I'm on here as well. Come on in to the room. Let me send this to my team. I'm sorry, y'all. Come on in. Come on in. I'm looking to see the people I have on here. Is this one, that one? Come on in and join me. Why is it making? Okay. Come on in, come on in. So we are on the two chapters that we're on now. The two chapters that we are on, we have left to finish, literally are the laws of. So let me go through this real quick as a recap to anybody who may be coming on here late, giving people time to come on in, right? Drop where you watching me from, share with a friend, share with anybody who is big on growth. Okay, big on growth. But we started with the law of intentionality. Growth doesn't just happen. We went into the law of awareness. You must know yourself to grow yourself. We went into the law of the mirror. You must see value in yourself in order to add value to others. The law of reflection, learning to pause allows growth to catch up with yourself. The law of reflection, the law of consistency, motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. The law of environments, growth thrives in conducive surroundings. The law of design, to maximize growth, you have to develop strategies. Okay, it doesn't just happen. The law of pain, good management of pain experiences leads to great growth. That was one of my favorite ones. The law of the ladder, character growth determines the height of your personal growth. The law of the rubber band, growth stops when you lose tension between where you are and where you can be. The law of trade-offs, how you have to give up to grow up. Okay, you got to give up to grow up. The law of curiosity, I think that was nope, that wasn't the last one. Growth is stimulated by asking why. I'm a why baby. Why this? Why that? Why we gotta do this? Why we gotta do that? I'm gonna ask why. The law of modeling. It is hard to improve when you have no one to follow but yourself. Choosing good mentors. And the last two, which I'm going to kind of combine, all right, is the law of expansion. Growth always increases your capacity. Okay, that's where we're going to start today. Growth always increases your capacity. Okay, and that's where we're at now. Growth always increases your capacity. If you have the book, then definitely follow the leader. And if you don't have the book, it's okay. I got great notes put up here today. I prepared for this because I want to make sure I stay in a good time. Okay, because y'all know when I don't have notes, I can go on and on and on. All right, I could go on and on and on. So come on in, drop a hello to me. I haven't seen some of you guys in a while. I thank you for your prayers. I thank you for checking in, seeing how I'm doing, how my mom's doing. I really, really appreciate you guys. All right. So growth increases with your capacity. All right. He says the potential that, and I'm always reading direct quotes. I add little tidbits, some stories to it, but this is John Maxwell's words. He quotes a lot of other authors and he adds them and gives them credit. But the potential that exists within us is limitless. I need you to understand that. It is limitless. All right. The potential to grow. It says, and it's largely untapped. Why? Because when you think of limits, you start to create them. I thought this was so powerful. When we start thinking, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? You start to put limits on yourself. All right. What if the old me would be like, well, what if nobody else gets on? And I'm looking at the number and I'm like, what if? And then I get in my head, the old me would really just stop the live. Like nobody's on here. I'm gonna stop the live. All right. So you got to think about that. So, but as time is going and I've grown and I've changed, I know not to create these limits for myself. But what I see is, oh, that number says 1, but more people will come later. People are getting off from work. People will watch the replay. And I still show up as if there's hundreds of people on here, even if there's only one. Because guess what? That one person right now, you matter. So you get to get the same energy, the same commitment, the same excellence as if there were hundreds of people on here. So that's what I've learned. That's that mindset part. All right. But he goes into how to increase your thinking capacity, because a lot of this is always, we think small by nature, by society, by, if you're not exposed to think differently and you're just watching television or you're in schools, and it's not a system that's built for us to think like we're limitless. We could do whatever we set our mind to. All right. So this is the one. The potential that exists within us is limitless and largely untapped. When you think of limits, you start to create them. All right. So how do you start increasing your thinking capacity? And I'm going to go through this. All right. Stop thinking more work and start thinking what works. Stop. It's going to be more work. No, what's working? All right. What's working for you? He said he asked most people, how can they increase their capacity? And they think it's by working more, working harder. But there's a saying, I don't know if many of you have heard, which is think or work smarter, not necessarily harder. You can do more work and still don't accomplish anything. All right. And still not accomplish anything. He says, expert says that typically people only use about 10% of their potential, only 10% of it. Can you imagine 10%? A lot of it is fear. We talked about that. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure. So they don't even tap into that other person, that other, largely that potential that you have. You don't even tap into it. All right. So stop thinking more work and start thinking what works. All right. Stop. That's the first one. The next one is going to be stop thinking, can I? And start thinking, how can I? It's all, remember, we're talking about you change your thinking, you change your life. All right. So stop thinking, can I do this? Start thinking, how can I do this? I didn't know how I was going to do this. This opened up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a book study with the information that I'm studying. I'm going to share with them because everybody doesn't have time to read a book. And I'm going to dissect this for them and share this knowledge. And then maybe they'll be inspired to go get the book themselves. And then something happened. I was like, you know what? How about this? Let me get the book for some of them. And those people have continued to show up and be there. All right. So the first one is stop thinking more work and start thinking what works. The next one is stop thinking, can I? And then how can I? Number 3, stop thinking one door and start thinking many doors. All right. Don't limit yourself to one thing. You guys know I have my online platform, the e-commerce business. I have a physical store. And then I decided, hey, I want to go back to work and learn something else, and because my heart is within serving and helping others, I went into a field that does just that, which is insurance. All right. So loving it, and did not realize that I was going to encounter so many people who are hurting, are struggling. It is a place that I feel honored to be. So the next one is, and remember, I am talking about how to increase your thinking capacity. How to increase your thinking capacity. All right. I know some of y'all probably coming on think I'm doing something else, but I'll be on later showing some bling. But right now, we're working on your mindset. We're working on your mindset. The next one is how to increase your capacity for action. All right. We just went to how to increase your capacity for thinking. But now that you know some things, what you should do to think, now what are some things you can do to start acting on those things? All right. And I love this one because a lot of times we say what we want to do. We plan for it. We plan well, but then we don't do anything. We don't take action. And so you could plan all day long. You can dream all day long. But if you don't actually take action, nothing changes, right? Nothing changes. He said the most common reason people don't overcome the odds is that they don't challenge them enough. They don't challenge those odds. They stay safe. Remember we talked about that? Are you average? What was average? The bottom of the best and the best of the worst. You right there. That's that you playing it safe. You don't try. You want to be comfortable. All right. So stop thinking that. He says, stop it. Everything looks like a failure in the middle. Everything looks like a failure in the middle. All right. Learning is discovering something that is possible every day. And I say every day, set your mind on something that you can grow at, something that I've found people ask, have you still enjoying the journey that you're taking on now? And I'm like, yeah, because every day I'm learning something new. Every day I'm like, oh, I didn't think I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think I ever would be doing this, but now I am. And I'm excited about it. I'm so excited about it. All right. So the next one we're on, stop thinking, how to increase the capacity for action. So let's see. What does he say for this? What is he saying? What is John Maxwell saying about the action? Well, he says, first of all, he says the greatest challenge you'll ever face is that of expanding your mind. Okay. So it starts with expansion of your mind. He says a man's mind, once stretched by a new idea, never regains its original dimensions. I don't know about you guys, but if you've been reading this book, if you've been stretching with me, you look at life differently. You are different. At this current time, because I'm always transparent and I'm always sharing. My mom is in the hospital. My daughter has to have surgery on her knee, another one. And my aunt is in a hospice in another state that I can't even be there with her right now. Okay. The old me who hadn't worked, hadn't transformed, changed my mind right now would have shut down, canceled everything. I'm not going live. I can't handle all of this. This is too much. This was the old me. Okay. But as I read and I've stretched my thinking and I stretch my mindset, I can't go back to that old person. I can't. I can't change any of the things that are going on right now. My daughter has to have surgery. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The first one they didn't take care of everything they were supposed to. My aunt, I've gotten, they expected her not to live more than 7 to 10 days. We're on week 3. And I've gotten to talk to her, FaceTime her. I get sad, but I don't let it just overtake me. You know what I mean? My family is my greatest blessing, but they're also my Achilles heel at times. And I say that as when things don't go right, it pierces me right here. Okay, it pierces me right here. Something else has happened today with my daughter that I cannot control. I don't. It's just it's life. It's just things happen, and I'm keep going. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pushing. So when he started talking about increasing your capacity for action, he says, stop doing. I got those in notes. This is a big one. Stop doing only the things you've done before, and start doing the things you could and should. Stop doing the things you always do. Because guess what? You're going to always get the same results. Nothing's going to change. If you keep doing the same thing, then the same thing is going to happen. And so I would do the same thing. I would retreat. I would be sad. And it would be good reasons. But then 2 days would turn to 2 weeks. And 2 weeks would be 2 months. And 2 months would be 4 months. And now I'm back in the beginning, starting all over, feeling guilty, feeling like I'm defeated, feeling like I failed myself and my team and my family. Like this, it was just this cycle. Can't go back to that. All right. I've stretched my mind. And I understand what I'm capable of. All right. Remember, limitless potential. All right. And so what I do know is I can grieve. I can be sad. I can be disappointed, but I don't have to quit. I can take a moment. I can pause. Monday, I couldn't come on. I was at the hospital, but I was like, okay, pivot. We're going to do a Wisdom Wednesday instead of a Mindset Monday. All right. And here we are. Doesn't work with everybody's schedule. I got that. Come on in and watch the replay. All right. So the next one is, he says, I am always doing that which I cannot do in order to learn how to do it. I didn't know how to use StreamYard. I didn't know how to get on here. I didn't know how to read, the different parts and make it work. I asked for help. I practiced. I got it wrong. If you go back and watch some of the early ones, you remember the volume would come up. One time I was doing a whole series and a live, and I had the mute on, and people were saying, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. And I'm like, so now I know to check. I know what to check. Number 2, remember we're talking about action. Stop doing what's expected and start doing more than what's expected. Okay? You always say, beat your best. You are your only competition. But stop doing what's expected. This not my job description. Or this is what my job says I'm supposed to do. And I'm not doing anything extra. Well, then you'll just get the same old. You'll get the same thing that you were getting last year. You'll get the same thing. You'll be amazed at how challenged you are when you try something different. As he says, we live in a culture that awards trophies to people for simply showing up. You just got to show up and you get a participation trophy. It used to be a commercial a long time ago. I can't think of what it was, but they got a trophy for just coming. He says, regardless of their contribution, celebrate for excellence. Even if your excellence is down here at the bottom, that's okay. But don't you just get rewarded because you showed up. What are you teaching people? All right? What are you teaching them? He says, number 3, remember we're talking about action. Stop doing important things occasionally and start doing important things daily. All right? Are you hearing that? Daily. The things that you know are important. For example, exercising is really important for me. And I don't do it daily. I got out of a rhythm. I'm working back to doing it daily. I stretch daily because I know that's important. But most of the time we wait for things to happen or we get into have problems. And then we want to start doing the things we should have done. Right? So yeah, do those important things. Do them daily. This is action. This gets you going. All right? It gets you going. He says, have you ever heard the expression, life is like a big canvas and you should throw all the paint on it that you can? I've never heard that. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but I've never heard that. He says, I like the intent and exuberance of those words, but I don't think that advice is very good. He said, unless you want to miss. That's what I was thinking. That's the first time, like, you're just throwing it on there. He said, a better thought is to make your life a masterpiece. Ooh, make it a masterpiece, which requires much thought, a clear idea, and selection when it comes to what you paint and what you put on your canvas. Plan for it. Remember, we talked about being strategic about what you want to do and plan for your life. You have potential that is limitless. So don't put yourself in a box. Don't put yourself in a box. Expand your capacity. It has impact. All right? Expand that capacity, baby. It has, you are capable of so much more, but a lot of us are afraid. He says the greatest of all miracles is that we need not be tomorrow what we are today. We need, think about that. We need not, I gotta take my time and say that. We need not be tomorrow what we are today. But we can improve if we make use of the potentials implanted in us by God. Every day we get to be somebody different. We get to grow. We get to change. And not only that, you get to be that for somebody else. You get to add value to somebody else's life. And that is equally important. All right. That is equally important. Now, as we are applying this law of expansion, he says, have you ever made a mental transition from I can't or I can? All right. I mean, I can't or can I? So how can I? Test yourself. Start thinking about that when you start thinking, I can't do this. One of our middle daughters, she bad with that. I can't do this. I can't do this. And she gets herself in a frenzy and she gets herself fearful and she really thinks she can't do it. And guess what happens? She don't do it. It takes me and Dad time and time to talk her through it, try to help her process. We are our children's coaches. So it takes time. It takes a lot of time that we work with them. All right. Give yourself an effectiveness audit so you can be sure what you're thinking works. Give yourself an effectiveness audit. It says, I'm not going to go over that audit because guess what? Get the book. There's so much in these pages. I can't even begin to tell you. All right. But you need to know that when you grow yourself, you enable yourself to grow others. And as I've grown myself, I've now been able to grow others. There's people who have the book. There's people who think comments, oh my God, this is changing my life. That's the hope. Okay. That's the hope. And as you start changing your life, he says, be a river, not a reservoir. Be a river, not a reservoir. A reservoir, the water just sits there. You get all of this knowledge and you just hold on to it. You don't share it with anybody. It's just, I'm going to get me. You remember people used to say that? I'm going to get me. I just think that's, oh my goodness. And I knew people that believed in that. Like, I'm going to get mine. You got to figure out how to get yours. All right. So that's the reservoir mentality. It is, I'm going to get what I need. I'm going to do for myself. He says, if you're not doing something with your life, it doesn't matter how long you live it. You're not doing anything for anybody but you. And you'll find that you're really not fulfilled as you think you are. So as you're thinking about being that reservoir, the river is a person that is constantly getting new information. He says most people who do make personal growth part of their lives to add value to themselves, they're like reservoirs. They continue taking water, but only to fill themselves. Okay. And I think in the beginning that probably was me because I was still learning. I was still growing. But being part of John Maxwell's team and learning the principles of him, he wants us to be, and I've become this, in contrast, a river that flows. Okay. The river flows. Whatever the water receives, it gives it away. It comes in and then it goes out. It comes in, then it goes out. And this is the way we should be as we learn and as we grow. That requires an abundance mindset. All right. You probably didn't even know that was a thing, but it is. It's an abundant mindset. It is a belief that we will keep receiving. As we release, we get more. As we release, we get more. And I love it because you're dedicated to growth. You're dedicated to personal growth of yourself and more so of others. He said, and you will never experience scarcity, and you will always have much to give because you're always giving. He says, I have come to one's life and one chance to make it count for something. My faith demands that I do whatever I can, whenever I can, wherever I am, for as long as I can, with whatever I have to make a difference. Jimmy Carter said that. And he lived a life of servitude. That is what he did. And that just touched my heart. Like literally, I'm like, that is what I want out of life. Not more stuff. Not more stuff at all. So he's talking about how do you make these contributions to others? How do you live this life where you're making more contributions to others? He said, well, first of all, be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. He said, people who aren't grateful are not givers. If you're not grateful for what you have, you're not giving to anybody. You're probably somebody who's complaining about what you don't have, to be honest. And you're probably not very happy, he talks about. Yeah. All right. So the first one is to be grateful. The next one is to put people first. Put people first. A lot of people don't believe in this. Again, I got to get mine. We're in a crazy time where it's about, I'm gonna get me first. It's a term that I heard, and she doesn't mean it in a negative way. She does mean you need to take care of yourself, right? You got to take care of yourself. But then from there, she goes on to, I think people have taken that out of context to everything is about yourself. And that's not what it's meant to be. But put people first. If you are a leader, putting people first is even more important. And I consider myself a leader. If you're a mom, you're a leader. You understand? If you're part of a Girl Scout group or a group in your church, there's leaders all over the place. And you don't have to have your name in the spotlight. You don't have to be so visible, but you are a leader in somebody's life. And you got to put those people first. We talked about that good character of leaders. Number 3 says, don't let stuff own you. Don't let stuff own you. The measure of success is not by the number of people who serve you, but the number of people you serve. That is powerful. Who you serve is important. Okay. Me getting this information, all I do is talk about it and try to get more views or more attention from me. That wouldn't help. Okay. That wouldn't help me at all. It wouldn't help anybody else, I should say. It's only helping me. But in the end, I'm not feeling fulfilled. And I wasn't. I was almost doing that at a point. I was doing what I thought I was modeling someone else and thinking that's what they were doing. But I was misreading it and it wasn't working for me. And I felt empty. And then I was able to tap into this and then add more value, have conversations. And then this is what I felt like I've been put here for this time here. So he says, don't let stuff own you. All right. He even goes back to different scriptures in the Bible about people who worked and they worked for larger crops, build bigger barns, achieve financial security, eat more, drink more, be merry, and die. And that's it. Feeling unfulfilled. The next one, I like this one. Don't let people own you. Don't let people own you. He talked about when he first started, and he was in a church. Remember, John Maxwell was a preacher, a pastor. And he talked about these friends he had that had a lot more money than him and his wife at the time. And he says how they used to take them to these lavish, restaurants and treat them. And they were appreciative of it. They couldn't afford it. And these people were supposed to be, they were their friends. I don't say supposed to be, because we got people who I think they say things they don't really understand the implications or the hurtfulness. Is that right? The hurtfulness, the pain of their comments. And so he says, after 3 years in the position he was in, he said he got an offer to become a leader of a much larger church. And he told them he was going to leave. It was a tremendous opportunity for John Maxwell. And that's why you gotta be careful of these people that are your friends when they're always taking care of you and doing stuff for you. He said, the gentleman was very upset. He said he was very upset. He said Jack was not pleased. He said, I'll never forget his words. And whether you're watching this now or you watching the replay, I want you to put a 3 in the comment if you've ever had anybody say this to you. He said, I'll never forget. John, not the John part, but how can you leave after all I've done for you? If you've ever had somebody tell you that, after all I've done for you, you're going to just leave? Not you're getting a better position, not you're growing, but after all I've done, you're going to just leave. I could put 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I've heard that so many times, especially when he was younger. And he said, it was in that moment, John Maxwell, he said, in that moment, I realized that Jack was slowly starting to own me. He was keeping score, and I had no idea. Oh, my goodness. People keep score, y'all. People you think they not. They helping you. So you don't always know people's intentions. And I don't think sometimes people know their own intentions until something happens. They ask you to do something. You say, I can't. And they're like, what? After all I've done for you? You going to tell me no? And I say that because even as a parent, I used to be like that with my kids. And my son, he used to say, Mom, I hate that you throw stuff in my face. Like, if you're doing it, do it because you want to do it. And I was like, I'm not doing that. But I was doing that. And so I've learned now you do things because you want to do it, because you genuinely want, I want to pour back into this person, but you don't do it so that when you want something, you got something to negotiate. And be careful when you use those words, after all I've done for you, because it does show you've been keeping score of what you're doing for somebody else. You do it because you love them. You do it because you want to see them grow. You do it because you want to add value. You should not be doing it selfishly. Because after that point, he said, I consider the success of my day based on the seeds I sow, not the harvest I reap. But he said this was a wake-up call for him. He said, and after that day, he made a choice. I would always try to give more than I received in a relationship. And I'm big on that. Not that you're too good, because he said people still poured into him and gave to him, but he made it a point to always give too. You know what I mean? He's not just taking. He says, I never let anyone of my leaders pick up a check at a restaurant. He said, I would be on the giving side of life whenever possible. All right. Whenever possible. The next one. Define success as sowing, not reaping. And I just went through that. I consider success of my day on the seeds I sow, not the harvest I reap. All right. Plant some seeds. Stop looking for people to give. What are you doing? All right. He says, after sowing, there's a period of time when it looks like nothing is happening. And I've been in that period for a long time. Mind you, long time could be 10, 20 years. Like, it could be a long time before it starts to take root and something happens. All growth is below the surface. I am in a new place, a new job. And let me tell y'all, the growth is already taking place because I'm able to come and talk, articulate. I don't have that nervousness about me that I used to have. Even if I asked a question, I wonder what they're thinking. Nobody's commenting. I'm looking at people's face. I don't have any of that. I have a comment. I have a question. I ask it boldly, confidently. You know what I mean? If I make a mistake, I make a mistake and I learn from it. And then I continue to go. So the growing that we see is really what we don't see. When you see that person, you think, oh, they've already arrived. You don't know what they've been doing the past 5, 10, 15, almost 20, 30 years. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know about the disappointments. You don't know about the late night studying. You don't know what people have gone through, how they've grown to get to where they are in their success and what they consider their success. All right. That's another thing. Number 6, he says, focus on self-development and not self-fulfillment. Focus on self-development and not self-fulfillment. All right. Definitely. Oh, I got some comments. I didn't even see those. I will go back to them after, guys. Because I can't see. Oh, swipe left. Oh, I got Preeti, Carolyn. Yeah. Hey, girl. Boom. Thank you, sweetie. Boom. Make sure you send. I got that picture for that of the book. But yeah, you got people that will do that. So the next one is focus on self-development. And that's, if you've been with me on this journey, you are focusing on your self-development. It's not, because this is not about self-fulfillment. Me coming on here, this is not about self-fulfillment. When I leave here, I'm heading back to the hospital, see my mom. But I made a choice, stretch myself, plan this out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you this as to, oh, woe is me. No, I'm telling you this because life happens. What people saying now, life be lifing. But that's what people are saying. Life be lifing. It is. We're going to go through good times and bad times, ups and downs. Are you going to let it stop you? Are you going to let it stretch you? Are you going to let it grow you? All right. The next one, 7, he says, keep growing to keep giving. Keep growing to keep giving. If you want to keep giving, then you got to keep growing. Okay. You got to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to. You have to keep going. Growing in order to keep giving. Well, and you got to keep going. So if you keep going, you'll be growing. And then from that, you'll keep giving. All right. I like that right there. Keep going to grow to give. He says, and I like this. He's talking about applying all these contributions. He said, make a decision to put others ahead of you. And I need you all, because this is the end of our book. And keep others. He says, make a point to keep others ahead of you. Put people ahead of you, of your own agenda, what you want. Put your family ahead of you. And I know this doesn't sit well with everybody. He's not saying put yourself last. He's not saying that. But think of the people around you, because the way that helps them to grow. Because I've changed, my relationship with my husband is better. Because I've changed, my relationship with my children is better. Because I've changed, I've went back to my old church. I am different. I lead different. I serve different. I am more fulfilled because I'm doing for others. Does that mean run yourself in the ground? No, it's not the kind of putting people first he's referring to. And so if you followed me with the whole book, you understand that. That is not what he's saying. All right. But he says part of the development of people at the workplace, ahead of your own advancement, things like that. He says, serve others instead of yourself. Commit to it. All right. Commit to it. You're going to grow. Remember the river? Be the river. As you give, it's just going to keep coming. You're going to keep receiving. And that's what you got to think of. Some people are afraid if I give too much, they're going to get all the attention. If I give, they are, hold on, y'all. That's cool. If I give, it's going to be too much. I'm going to lose out. What if this opportunity doesn't come again? Don't worry about that. I promise you, that's what he's speaking. As you give, you will receive. It will continue to keep going. He says, commit to it, and then invite others in your life to hold you accountable. And that's what you guys have been. You've held me accountable. Because you show up, I show up. Because you show up, I show up. He says, and remember, sometimes the seeds you sow, I like this. Sometimes the seeds you sow take a long time to grow, but you will always see a harvest. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you guys so much. Whether you're on here now, you popped in, you come and watch the replay later. I love you all. I pray that this book has added value to your life. I pray that you became a recipient of it. And if you're not, the book is $12.99 on Amazon. Buy it. We went through not even half of it. There was work to be done. There's things that he had in there for you to go through. Take the time, invest in yourself. Remember, your potential is limitless. There's only limits when you start thinking about it. Y'all be blessed. The next book will be coming soon. It's the next John Maxwell book. It is Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Lose. Boom. learn. All right. And this one says life's greatest lessons are gained from our losses. I cannot wait. It's a brand new one. Ain't all tattered up. So this will be the next book I will start next month. This is April. So yeah, in May. In May, I'll start this book and it will be on our Monday Mindsets. Y'all be blessed. Take care. Share. Do something for somebody else. Be a river, not a reservoir. Bye.